Banjo-Kazooie. So the thing about Banjo-Kazooie is this is one of those games where I feel like I'm not allowed to truly cherish this game. What I mean by that is like almost gatekeeping myself from loving something. Like, here's the thing. Okay, so Banjo-Kazooie, 1998, Rare, Nintendo, they put together a collectathon masterpiece, unlike which has really ever been topped in my humble opinion. The thing about this game is it takes everything Mario 64 does and just adds a little more polish to it, in my opinion. You have a little more character, a little more story, a little more panache, a little more hilarity, a little more slapstick, a little more adult, a little more risque. I mean, you really get everything you could want in that type of experience. For me personally, I have a story with this game. It goes all the way back to when I was a kid. Now, I did not grow up with a Nintendo 64. I was a PlayStation family. We went that route, kind of only got to play Nintendo when I played at a friend's house, a neighbor's house, something like that, right? Like I never really got a lot of Nintendo stuff outside of handheld. I had Game Boy Advance, DS, but the consoles I didn't really grasp onto until the GameCube, and even then I got that pretty late. Same with the Wii. I was always admiring from afar. I never really jumped in outside of a few, here and there. Now, Banjo-Kazooie was a game that I remember as a kid, seeing it in Blockbuster, maybe seeing, one time at a birthday party or something, but I never really knew what it was. It wasn't until many, 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 many years later, in high school, about 17 years old, talking to my friend Jeff, and he explained to me his absolute love and admiration for this game. I never really played it, and it wasn't until then that I really thought to play it. And at the time, I had an Xbox 360. It was on the Xbox Live Arcade. I thought, whatever, I would give it a chance, give it a shot. And that's the one thing about my character, I feel like, in this arc, which is that I like the Xbox version of the game better than the N64 version. Since playing the game, I have played the N64 version, and truth be told, I just think the Xbox version is overall the better experience. It's got slightly better visuals. It fixes basically the only real flaw of the game, which is the notes. Basically, each world has musical notes you can collect as your basic collectible for each level, outside of the jiggies, which of course are basically your stars, your shines, things like that. In the N64 version, if you die at any point, you game over, you leave the level, you have to recollect everything, all of the notes that you missed. In the Xbox version, it saves that, so you don't have to recollect anything. To me, I didn't play the original as a kid. I'll take the easier version. I mean, that's just me. But regardless, I'm getting off track. The point is, until I was 17 years old, I never experienced this game. When I finally got to play it, I fell in love. This game is such a fun ride, in my opinion, having played it, as a 17-year-old. Now I'm 30, so that seems like a lifetime ago. Playing Banjo-Kazooie to me was the ultimate 3D collectathon experience. There is none better. You can take Mario 64, you can take Jak and Daxter, you can take DK64. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Banjo-Kazooie, to me, is the purest version of that type of game. And so the end of my story, as I started at the beginning of this video, is that to me, I've always felt like I couldn't truly appreciate this game because as a kid, I never really cared about it. And it took me until damn near 10 years after it came out to finally give it a chance. And after that, it's like, I would like to say Banjo-Kazooie is one of my favorite games of all time. But I have this part of me in the back of my head, this little kid that says, you can't say that this is your favorite game or one of your favorite games because you didn't really appreciate it when you should have, when you had the chance. And I know it's a weird thing to say. I'm sure it's just like, oh, like whatever you want to like, and that's fine. But to me, Banjo is such a special game. It almost has its own category. If you're thinking of your favorite games of all time, oh, what's your top 10 games of all time? To me, it's like Banjo's in another realm for me, because this is not the best game I've ever played. It's not the most fun game I've ever played. It's not, the game I want to play the most. It's just a special game that holds a special place in my heart. And even if no one else understands what I'm saying, I can rest assured that this game is one of the best. And I absolutely love every damn minute of it, except for the final boss fight against Grunty. She is fucking impossible. She's so fucking annoying. I will say, as a last note, though, I realized on this playthrough, which I guess goes to show this is a good game, because even on repeated playthroughs, I'm constantly learning new things. In the final boss fight with Grunty, there's a sequence, not to spoil it, but at the very end, you summon the Ginjinator, who's the ultimate Jinjo. That is the only way you can defeat her. And you have to shoot eggs into 4 spots on the statue, and he'll come out and attack her. I've always thought you just had to power through, just have to save up as much health as possible and tank it. But I realized this time you actually can save up your gold feathers, which grants you invincibility. You can get her in a pattern where she'll throw a certain amount of attacks at you and then give you a few seconds so you can actually use that to your advantage. I realize if you've never played this game, you have no idea what I just said, but hey, it made the final boss fight a lot easier for me, especially at the end, so I appreciate that. Anyway, I'm going on for a long time. Don't know how long this is, but I love Banjo. You should too. I love this game, and it means a lot to me, so looking forward to the next one, but thank you, Banjo, for everything you've done, and here's hoping we get that 3rd game someday.